Hey guys, it's Adam from Premium Poker Tools, and here is going to be the second hand analysis video for the Should You Bluff page. So I'm going to show you how you could use this page to study hands that you've played. So here's the situation I want to go over. So we open with ace of clubs, two of clubs from the cutoff, and get called by the small blind, heads up to the flop. Flop is 10, 7, 5 rainbow. We don't have a backdoor draw. And it goes check, bet, call. So we see bet and get called here. Now the turn comes a king of clubs, and we have to decide whether we want to fire a second barrel. So the cool thing about this card, I think that we can consider this a scare card, because if they're sitting here with 8-7 or 6-5 or something like that, they may have decided to call the flop, but now the king comes, and that really, it it makes their hand a lot weaker. And even if they have like a jack 10 or a 10-8 or something like that, they might decide to throw their hand away. So let's use this tool to see what's going on here. So let's start going through it. So we're considering bluffing the turn here, and we're against one opponent, and we have ace of clubs, two of clubs. So pre-flop, when they call, I'm going to kind of eyeball a range a little bit. I'm going to say that they're going to call with something like this. I'm adding in some suited connectors and one gappers. I'm going to get rid of this. That's a little bit weak. I'm going to remove queens plus and ace king because I'm going to assume that they're going to 3-bet those hands. And I think that this range looks pretty okay for something they're calling from the small blind with. As like a small stakes player, I think a lot of better players are going to be 3-betting a lot more widely, small blind versus cutoff, but against kind of a passive, smaller stakes player, this is something we can put them on. So now let's enter the flop cards. So the flop comes 10 of spades, 7 of hearts, 5 of diamonds. So we're going to enter that in. 10 of spades, 7 of hearts, 5 of diamonds. Cool. So flop comes, and we see bet, and they call. So what are they calling with? Let's enter in some stuff. I think that they're going to call this flop. It's a little bit of a, the flop that's hard to hit. I think they're going to call with their weak pairs for at least one street. I think that they might call with some of their stronger overcard hands, with ace queen, with ace jack, king queen. Might want to call a flop bet here. That looks good enough as something that they might be continuing on the flop with. So now the turn, I think it was a king of clubs. So the turn comes king of clubs, and we want to see if we could fire a second barrel. And let's try like a 3/4 pot bet, bump it up a little bit, try to get some folds. So I'm going to skip this section and come back to it. But now let's go back down here. And so let's ask ourselves the question, what do we think that they're continuing with on this turn? So they're weak pair hands, pocket twos, 5-4, 6-5. They're going to have a hard time calling here when the turn comes a king. Imagine if you had pocket twos here. Imagine if you had 6-5. Imagine if you had 8-7, imagine if you had pocket nines, and this guy double barrels and bets kind of big on the turn. What are you gonna do? It's an uncomfortable situation. So if they're folding all their weak pair hands, and let's just say they're calling all of their second pair hands, any 10, 10-8, 10-9, they're gonna call with. We still have a great profitable bluff here. So for a 3/4 pot bluff to be immediately profitable, it only needs to work about 43% of the time. But already we have 49% fold equity. And in reality, it's not even going to need to work this frequently because, we have an ace as our out. We have 3 outs there. And it's even possible that they're on some sort of a draw, like 8-9, and we win at showdown with our ace high. So really, this is going to be more like, maybe 39 or 40%. So anyway, right now we have a profitable bluff here. If they're folding all their weak pair hands, we have a profitable bluff. But a lot of people might even fold, some other things. If you're sitting here with 10-8 and you're facing a big bet on the turn, you might want to get rid of it. 10-9, even Jack-10, they might want to get rid of it. So depending on your opponent, what they're releasing here on the turn, you can have maybe even 60% fold equity, and that's going to be a lot more than you need to be profitable. Maybe you need 40% to be profitable, but you have 60%. And if we scroll up, we can kind of zoom out and see kind of the big picture here. So if they're continuing with weak pairs, if they're continuing with pocket twos, with pocket sixes, with 7-6, then we're not doing good. Then we only have 13% fold equity. But if they're continuing with second pair and better, like we saw, now we're doing great. Now we have 11% more fold equity than we need. And if they're releasing their second pair hands, then we're doing fantastic. Then we have 71%. We only need 38. Then we're totally crushing them. And yeah, so I think a lot of opponents here, unless they're really calling stationy, they're going to release their weaker stuff. And when this king comes, we're going to have a lot of profitable second barrels. So the main concept here is what we call a scare card. So a scare card is a card that comes and scares, your opponent, because a lot of the things that they can have entering this turn are going to be made a lot weaker when the king comes. So when you see a scare card, you can, oftentimes have profitable bluffs. So that's been a second hand analysis video for the Should You Bluff page. So this is one of the ways that you can use this page to study and find more spots to bluff and kind of increase your win rate. So hopefully that made sense. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. My email is contact@premiumpokertools.com. My name's Adam. I'm the founder of Premium Poker Tools. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Definitely let me know what you think, and have a good day.